This is High School Not So Much a Musical, a podcast that takes you on a ride through the peaks and valleys of a high school journey. Here are your presenters, Nitin Jaladanki and Ayush Agarwal.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to High School Not So Much a Musical. Today, we are joined with Miss Sinha, who is the founder of a nonprofit called Blissful Yoga and Wellness. The goal of the nonprofit is to spread mental health and well-being to people of all ages. So, Miss Sinha, if you could give us a quick introduction about yourself, that'd be a great way to start off the podcast.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm actually going to start with having all of our listeners imagine something. So imagine what you have in common with your next door neighbor, what you have in common with the CEO of a company, what would you have in common with your aunt, maybe in assisted living. Pause for a few seconds and think about what it is that you might have in common. And you'll realize that everyone, no matter who they are, is always looking to be in a happy, blissful, content state. No matter where you are, what age, what profession, you really want at the end of the day to have that really good night's sleep where you have no worries, you know you've done your part. And how do you achieve that state? So I am the founder of Blissful Yoga and Wellness. We're a nonprofit organization based in San Jose. And the goal of our organization is to empower everyone, no matter who they are, no matter what their financial background is, to find that this secret sauce that would help them live a happy life mentally, physically, emotionally, and really well blended in society as well.
Yeah, and I think especially as teenagers, since we're so busy with extracurriculars and grades, we really don't have a chance to kind of relax, take a deep breath, do yoga, focus on our mental health and wellness. So could you talk about some of the ways that teenagers can start to incorporate these small things in their daily lives just to overall improve our health, but at the same time not have it where it becomes too big of a time commitment?
Absolutely. Our teenagers, our youth these days are so dedicated. They're so hardworking. They have to face so many challenges at this young age that it's really hard for them to find the balance. So if they have this guiding force, even if they have a few minutes, they can always take time to reset, recharge. A couple of things that I would suggest is, and these are things that you can incorporate at any time in your day. You really don't have to put everything aside and sit down and, you hear of everyone talk of meditation. Life can be a meditation. You could be in a moving meditation. You really don't have to sit in a chair and close your eyes and sit still and meditate. Meditation to me is something that you do all the time, as long as you're absolutely immersed and loving what you're doing. You could be biking and that's your meditation, because that's when you're happy, you're in the zone. You could be cooking and that's your meditation. So for teenagers, whatever is your passion, give it 200%, and that's when you will get extreme happiness out of it. So you don't have to really cut things out to implement mental well-being. It's just little things, your attitude, that you would incorporate in everything you do. I will advise that incorporate some kind of physical movement. It could be simple yoga poses, or it could be an intense workout. As long as you are moving physically, you're releasing those endorphins or happiness hormones, and that's going to keep you on track to achieve whatever goals you've set for yourself.
Yeah, on that note that you mentioned about how it's important to just even just the little things are important, I want to know why do you think starting a healthy lifestyle in moderation is beneficial? Because there's obviously one extreme where you're okay, I'm going to start eating healthy, I'm going to work out 4 to 5 times a week, but that never lasts. So why do you think it's important to, especially as teenagers, to start implementing a healthy lifestyle in moderation, small steps at a time?
Yes, absolutely. Just the fact that young teenagers like you can ask a question that is just so well thought out, it just exemplifies that you understand that moderation is key. It's really hard to be extreme because that's not a sustainable lifestyle. If you start small, little baby steps, and you'll achieve and your big goals. They always say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So, to achieve a healthy lifestyle, the little things that you can do is, I always advocate eating all the colors of the rainbow. Eat your fruit, eat your veggies, eat home cooked food. We all know that processed food with salt, sugar is really harmful to our body. You have little short term happiness that you can gain, but in the long term, you know that that's eventually harmful for your body. So little things, that's a healthy lifestyle for your physical health. For mental happiness, I would say that smile, just smile. It's so easy to smile all the time, but when you smile, you're not only radiating well-being of your own self, but even who you're smiling at. So it's contagious. Pass on that happy energy to other people you interact with. It doesn't cost you a thing. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have traveled often by airplanes, and if you're listening to the safety instructions that they give, they will always announce that in case of loss of air pressure, an oxygen mask will drop, and put on the oxygen mask for yourself first before you assist an elderly or a child. Why do they say that? Because they want you to be in a state where you can take care of yourself and then help others. So practicing mental well-being, practicing yoga, taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally first can enable you to be this person who can really help and take care of others. And that's how the entire society, your family, your community can benefit.
So one of the things that we're seeing very rapidly, especially in America, is the amount of high schoolers who are experiencing a lot of depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the college admissions process in general, and just I think the peer pressure that people in school face. So what do you think are some remedies that if a person does have anxiety or they are going through depression, what are some ways in which they can reach out to people, or what are some resources that they can use? Because especially for us Bay Area teens, we find it really difficult to confide in our parents, just because in my opinion, whenever, let's say, Asian parents, they're not very good with talking about their feelings in general, I guess, because they were taught by their parents that they can't really express them. So what are some ways that maybe the generation who's currently in high school can express their feelings in a place where they will be heard and they can confide in someone?
Yes, that is such a good question, and again, I admire you for bringing this up. For sure, certain kids from certain backgrounds and families will hesitate to reach out to their immediate parents, and that's okay. But the one thing I would want to say to these young youth, hardworking youth, is that don't judge them. Don't judge anybody. Don't judge your parents. Don't judge your teachers. Don't judge your friends, because everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own background. Everyone has some kind of burden that they're carrying. So, don't judge them. Do not have expectations from them. Be supportive of each other, no matter who they are, and always listen. You don't have to follow what they are saying, but just listen, because there might be some wisdom in what others have to say. But that said, yes, there is a lot of peer pressure on our youth of today. They are dealing with so many demands on their time, from college applications to taking care of their well-being, and being responsible youth, taking up leadership positions whenever possible. So there is going to be a possibility that they can break, they can bend. So having little tricks up your sleeve, for example, I believe in a few mantras. One, I believe in fake it till you make it. If you are able to to pretend that everything is okay and not get bogged down with all the stress, then eventually you will start living and behaving as if everything is okay. It's easy to grumble and complain, but if you say, no, that's okay, everything's good, life's great, it just becomes a part of you, it just becomes your attitude, and then it gives you the power and the strength to handle stress. Although, if these little things don't help, I would recommend, there are a lot of mental health professionals who are out there. Now with COVID, a lot of them are able to provide tele services. So it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong to speak with someone who is actually trained to analyze you and help you professionally. So speak with your parents. I'm sure with some kind of education, they will be able to support you as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we've talked a lot about, some of the ways that high schoolers can kind of approach this issue. But I think it would be also beneficial to kind of go into what you're doing to solve this issue, because you have your wonderful nonprofit called Blissful Yoga, which kind of goes into these different mantras and promotes people to live a healthy lifestyle, promotes people to boost their mental health, wellness, etc. So if you could talk a little bit about how you kind of got started with the nonprofit, what gave you the idea for it? I'm sure you've been doing health and fitness and promoting health and fitness a long time even before the nonprofit. So if you could talk a little bit about that and kind of how the nonprofit's progressing now, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I am an IT professional, and I have an undergrad degree in computer science. And believe it or not, I'm actually currently pursuing my MBA from UC Davis. So life's been busy. I've worked in corporate America for the last 22 years in various roles. I work for startups, I work for mid-sized companies, I work for large Fortune 500 corporations. And along these years, I've found that I would get bogged down by work. I would get bogged down by the demands of my clients. I would get bogged down by so-and-so said this. And it was really, there were times when I'd be sitting working at my desk, and I almost found that I was not even breathing regularly. We don't take time to think about our breath. We just assume that we're breathing and we're living. But it's really important that we breathe properly. And this is when I was in that phase of my professional life where I would hold my breath and I'd be typing away frantically and answering calls frantically, and then I would at the end of the day realize, like, what did I do? I don't think I did a few things right. So I started to seek out resources that would help me find that break in my workday where I would actually step away and tune out everything that was super stressful and just stay in a calm state. And luckily for me, there was a yoga studio very close to my house, so I started blocking my calendar, and at lunchtime started going to take those yoga classes. And I realized that yoga was so intense, it is so challenging physically, that your brain actually can focus on nothing else but those actual yoga postures that you are in. And that just gave me such a mental break from my crazy work life that I got kind of addicted, and I kept going back to it. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is exactly what I need. I don't want to distract myself by shopping or by eating or by watching TV. This is a good distraction. I'm distracted, and I'm actually also working on my physical and mental health. So that's how I really got into it. And then a few years later, I saw the benefits I experienced, and then I really felt that this is a philosophy, it's a science, it's an art that needs to be shared with everyone. So I set up the nonprofit, Blissful Yoga and Wellness, with the goal to empower everyone. So our classes are free, our workshops are free. We don't charge anyone for anything. If you have the interest and want to practice with us, we have a community, we have classes, we welcome everyone. I know one single yoga class at a studio in the Bay Area can cost $25, $30. Not everyone can afford it. And that's why we're here. We're here to support you on your journey for your mental well-being. Over the last few years, and especially during COVID, we noticed neighbors, friends, family, everyone feeling low. So we were able to offer classes through Zoom. We will offer 2 to 3 classes per week, and everyone, not only from the Bay Area, but I had friends from Dallas, I have people from Seattle, from India, joining in to be a part of this community, to learn this practice, to share their thoughts, encourage each.
That's our show for today. Now roll the credits. High School Not So Much a Musical is hosted by Ayush Agarwal, Nitin Jaladanki, and Rishi Sinha. Narration by Samhit Padala. Music from Louis Luang Relaxation Cafe, Tune Pocket, and Infraction. If you like the show, please recommend it to your friends and family. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.